Kumusta ka mo? Hi, it's Viktoria Vox. Stop responding with no worries if it'll leave you with worries. Stop letting people off with it's okay and no problem when they did something that hurt your feelings. Sis, it's high time you asserted your boundaries, aka the line you personally draw between yes, I can tolerate this and no, this is unacceptable. Say it with me. That's not funny. I changed my mind. Hindi ko kakadto. Hindi ko maubra na. Hindi. No. That's how setting your boundaries can sound like. And there's so much power learning to say them out loud. Yes, it's empowering, but it can also be hard to do, especially for chronic people pleasers like me. Kaya mas madali nga pabayaan mo na lang kaysa sa mas stress ka pa. It's so uncomfortable to have to tell someone that their statement was offensive. Or to tell someone nga, hindi kiladlawan joke mo Kaya ba ambalan ka pa nga, nagay da pikon bala? O kung hindi man tamaan, di ka sensitive si mo. O kung hindi man, for example, ambalan mo kliyente mo nga, boss, hindi na nabala upod sa ginbaydan mo nga task mo. Especially here in the Philippines, where being accommodating is glorified, if not even the gold standard. Imbis nga balon nga nabastos ka, hambalan ka pa nga, babayin na lang May ara, pa nga, balaan mo naman wala niya ginanamin na. Kagkapila ko ni hambalon ang nagay pikon talo, o kon nagay bala sensitive. Tama na nabi? Kung hindi gani komportable ang isa ka tao sa ginaubra mo, set aside your pride and ego and just stop. Apologize. Hindi nga, ginjoke ka lang. This will thicken your skin. Tikay kung hindi kuya gani, piliton mo kusang gusto mo. Ikaw na apektuhan how? Don't me. Sige yung balon tabi nga wala gidman ginanamin. Paano ko mabalaan nga hindi niya napag-ubrahon liwat? You know, that's the thing about blurred boundaries. Nobody knows when it's not okay with you anymore. They just assume that since you didn't complain or say anything, then the joke must have landed correctly, even if the joke was on you. Ang ginambalan ka gani nga, guwapa ka tani kung maputi ka? No, you do not have to sit there and laugh it off. You can politely say that the statement does not sit well with you. Thanks, Tita, but I'm happy with this golden look. I hope you stop associating beauty with only the mestizas. Asserting boundaries is not rude so long as you communicate it with consideration for the other side. Because it's true that some people do things out of love. Kung ginhambalan ka gani nga, masagad ka guro sa ginaobra mo kung nagdoktor ka Oo, may sablay ang delivery, but it could also just mean that they see untapped potential in you. But you know, how else will that be corrected if you don't say anything? After you correct them, some people would even say, oh, you misunderstood me, or that's not what I mean. Then you can politely say, I understand, but you know there are other ways to say what you mean. I will stand with the saying, think before you speak. Sometimes how we say things are really not what we mean. So before you speak, analyze first what you're going to say and ask yourself, is this really what I mean? Asserting your boundaries is self-respect and self-preservation. But above all, it's helping the people around you know how to love you better. Because, you know, to be fair, damo willing mabalaan kung paano palang gaon ka. Pero kinalan taman sila buligan And the best way to do that? Communication. We all know that the biggest source of conflict is miscommunication. Things that could have been avoided. So if you want to avoid further conflict, communicate. And that includes asserting your boundaries because it doesn't just mean, ay, akig na ko simo. That's just petty. Asserting your boundaries is a clear and direct way of communicating so that people around you know how to do right by you, especially those you love and who love you. Di ba lang may 5 love languages? And sometimes our partner won't have the same love language, which can be an area for miscommunication. So bag-o ka mo mag-away, already communicate your boundaries. My friend and her boyfriend are complete opposites when it comes to love and affection. The girl is strongly words of affirmation and the guy, super acts of service. Pero minsan ako nag-aaway sa umpisa kay si ate girl, wala niya kano gina-appreciate effort ni kuya guy. Tapos si ate girl naman, feeling niya taken for granted siya. But then, they decided to communicate their needs and assert their boundaries. They both made changes. The guy started to be more verbal with his affection and the girl made time to do something nice for her boyfriend every day. And their fight started to lessen a lot. Point is, asserting your boundaries is grounds for a healthy relationship. Because when you love someone, you give them unlimited chances to love you better and do right by you. Pero syempre, hindi man pwede nga wala ka obrahon, then they will magically read your mind and love you right. No sis, you gotta do your part. Set clear ground rules. Communicate constantly and assert your boundaries. When your boundaries are blurred, people will treat you based on what they know, not what you need. When you leave your boundaries blurred, you set yourself up for bad behavior because what you tolerate becomes the baseline of how people treat you. If you want people to do better by you, then do your part. Communicate. Assert your boundaries. If you don't assert your boundaries and people keep trampling all over you, it's not all their fault. Kaya wala ka ginobra. In short, yung gusto mo na. Asserting your boundaries is a good thing, pero hindi namin na tanan nga tao akseptaron na with open arms. You can expect a lot of resistance, especially from people who found it much easier and convenient when they were able to use you. When people are so used to you agreeing with them all the time, or you being there at their every beck and call, your boundaries become a drastic change in your behavior. Hindi na sila sanay nga may respeto ka sa lawas mo. Hindi sila sanay nga hindi mo lang pag-akseptaron tanan nga ginaubra nila simo. You're not there for me anymore. I used to vent to you 24/7. O kung hindi man, tamaan ka buot simo, maskin tanan nga savings mo, pahula mo sa pamilya mo. Tanan nga ginpangabudlayan mo, ginhatag mo. Tas mabalaan mo nga ginpanggastos lang gali sa luho nila o kung pang party nila sa mga barkada nila. So swindling sa Netflix subong dibla. Ay ate ko, yan na swindle ka big time sa pamilya mo. They are able, right? They can work to earn money, right? Don't just say yes to them because you're being bombarded with, ako nagpaskwela, si mo spiel. Set your boundaries because those who will take advantage of you won't. You teach them how to treat you. If you teach them that it's okay to always have a percentage of your salary, then they'll do that for the rest of your life. If you teach them that you're not okay with that, they'll either resent you or respect your decision. Either way, your boundaries are clear. Your decisions are for you. Because if you keep on tiptoeing around everyone else without boundaries to protect you, you will end up bottling up your emotions that are toxic for you. Worst, you may even end up with the bigger problems like constant self-sabotage or even depression. You become defensive and start overthinking everything you do. You consider everyone but yourself that you will no longer be able to represent what you want out of life. Wala na. Ang pangabuhi mo gamit-gamiton lang para sa iban nga tao. Tani lang sa umpisa pa lang, you were honest with how you felt and communicate right away. Although we most of the time do it to please them. So yes, expect fallouts. There will be a lot. Because those people are only compatible with an outdated version of yourself. But these boundaries will also reveal the people who truly love you because boundaries are not scary for those who genuinely care. It's just another way to love you better, so don't be afraid to speak up for yourself. You can only win and grow when you get comfortable with your own boundaries. It can be hard to do at first, but like anything, it gets easier with practice. So, what do I do when I feel disrespected? Know your boundaries. Tananta iban nga bagay nga pwede ta matolerate. So, the first step is to know where you stand. What offends you? What is disrespectful to you? Know that and draw a line. Assert your boundaries. If you know what is not tolerable to you and someone crosses that line, don't hesitate to call it out. Say you don't appreciate it. It doesn't sit well with you. You changed your mind. Whatever it is, Communicate it. You can always assert your boundaries without being rude. So take into consideration people's intentions. Is this done out of love? How do I say this without also being rude to them? Nothing is worth losing yourself in the process for. Provide alternatives. A major key to a successful communication is proactive suggestions. Meaning, if someone does something that you didn't like, provide an alternative. Wala kita may ma-achieve kung puro reklamo lang kag wala solusyon. Kung ginakigan ka in public, you can say, "Can we have these conversations in private, please?" Asserting your boundaries can be hard, but they will be worth it in the long run. Nahadlok ta kay basi may mga friends ta nga mawala, but at the end of the day, kung kilanlan mo magpili between you and other people's comfort zones, don't you owe it to yourself to choose you? So take time to know who you are. Know your boundaries. Know what you're okay with. Know what you're not okay with. Draw that hard line. And when someone steps on it, call it out. Assert those boundaries. But when you do, also recognize the intentions of those around you. Give people a fair chance to do better by you, starting with providing alternatives, because at the end of the day, we teach people how to treat us through the things we tolerate. This is the 41st episode of this makeup therapy series, and if you like content such as this, please hit the like, the share, comment your thoughts down below, and don't forget to subscribe. Bye!